180 of those days must be used for instruction. The school term must cover 9 months. 3 days must be for professional development. 3 weather makeup days, and instructional days for students must be at a minimum of 6 hours a day, per day, 6 hours per day. So that is a state requirement for the district calendar. In addition to that, we conducted a survey, a stakeholder survey of our community members. We had over 1,200 response. We had 38.9% were parents that responded to the survey. We had 29.1 were employees or parents of the district, and then we had 24% were employees only. The priorities of the calendar based on the stakeholder survey, 39.9% wanted longer breaks, such as 1 week for Thanksgiving, 2 weeks for Christmas, and 1 week for spring break. And then the second priority was 18.8% wanted to ensure that our calendar aligns with neighboring districts.
It aligns with what?
Neighboring
Neighboring districts. Okay, I couldn't hear.
So the calendar you have here is pretty much the calendar that will meet the state requirements as well as the priorities set forth by the stakeholder survey.
So when you say neighboring districts, which neighboring district are we looking at?
The Spartanburg district.
Spartanburg district, 'cause I pulled there, because my grandson's in one of those districts. But it was starting just a little bit later, and then the spring break was different.
Yes.
And I'm gonna say this, can I just say, I personally, as a former educator, like that break in March, but I've heard a lot of people, well, I think a lot of people would not like it moved from April to March. I'm just telling you what
Here's why we're moving. Many districts are moving into March now because of the testing days in April.
I agree.
The State Department has so many testing for students, and we don't want them to miss those days leading up to testing, but we don't want to not give teachers, because if we move that spring break back to April, that gives teachers 2 months of no break, students no break. So we just feel that it's important, as our visitors stated this afternoon, about giving teachers time. And so we felt like if we push that spring break back to April, it's not gonna give teachers a break or students a break.
And Easter's really late this year.
It is. Did your panel, your committee, whatever, your calendar committee, did they agree with that, moving that spring break?
Yes.
They did, okay. How many was on your committee? Just curious.
It's about 8 or 9 of us.
8 or 9? Okay. Teachers and administrators?
Teachers, district office personnel.
Dr. Dukes, when is the state testing planned for 2025? So April, if the spring break was going to be that second week, start on April 7th, when would the state testing be? If it puts you in a bind, I'm just wondering when the dates are.
It just depends. They have a large window. Sometimes
Gotcha.
testing, we have field testing that we do in March and April. We do the SE ready. The last 20, typically it's the last 20 days.
Dr. Duke, go ahead. I agree with Ms. Goldman, and I just asked Dr. Fall. I know that a lot of parents take their kids places during spring break now, and March is technically still winter time, according to the calendar. I'm just being honest. April, that first week of April, and I heard you say that our neighboring districts, I know a lot of theirs is still that first, would be March the 31st through April the 4th. And also, Dr. Fall said we want to stay consistent. And obviously we can't control when Easter is, because like this year, Easter is the 5th Sunday in March. But next year, Easter is the 3rd Sunday in April. But in saying that, other than the spring break, I don't have a problem with the calendar. But I, in my opinion, and I'm only one person, I think that we need to have the spring break the week of March the 31st through April the 4th.
Mrs. Spratt, I just want to clarify that Spartanburg districts have their spring break that first full week in April. It starts on the 7th.
Yeah, District 2.
And this is where my grandson is, that's how I know.
Well, I mean, the Spartanburg district, they might as well have one big district, because they all do the same thing.
They collaborate and meet
Yeah.
together.
So maybe, April the 7th through the 11th.
I was telling Mr. Surratt as well, just for transparency, that if you all wanted to move that and approve the calendar with that change, we can still approve the calendar. If you start looking at trying to add a day here, take a day, then we gotta totally scrap and change
But they
it.
done too much work for that. I
Right,
ain't
right.
trying to do that.
I just want to be, if it's just moving that spring, we can do that easily.
We got a lot of employees too waiting, trying to get ahead, trying to make plans for vacation themselves.
Well,
They're
it
waiting to
affects
hear where we're
scheduling.
going. I know that.
It affects scheduling, it affects everything. We need to, that's why we want to bring the following year back in a month or two
I
so that we
love
can
that
get
idea.
that ahead.
Love it.
What about May, right there, 1st and 2nd? I mean, it's left. Is there school?
Yes, sir.
Okay, is that just missed for
That's just
calling?
missed. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
correct, yeah.
Yes, sir.
So
And
Dr.
color.
Dukes, did your
Yeah, they
teachers
didn't get
express
that.
that they needed a break those 3 months, or, I mean,
Well, as a
Give me
former
some feedback
principal
from
myself, I just feel like, you know, it's hard to, put teachers in a situation where they're working 2 months or working so long and not have a break to be able to just re-energize. So we were very considerate and mindful of that as well, because we wanted to be teacher friendly as well,
Okay.
as meeting their needs as well.
thank you.
Now, I agree with you. As an educator, I would have lived that break, but I don't know what the community would. That's why I was asking how many people were on your committee to get their input. Just for future, because you're gonna work on the next calendar, at one time, maybe Dr. Paul, you can answer this because you've been here for years, the early release days. My only complaint I've heard from teachers is they need more time, more work days, more time to have their, and I've heard the principals mention their PLC time. Ms. Kaminsky, you mentioned time. I just, are there, I mean, why did we get away from those early release days when you had that commonality?
Those were expired before I got here.
Okay.
I would
Okay.
love to do, Spartanburg 2 does them.
Yep.
I would love to put something in place where, whether, like Spartanburg 2 just does secondary schools. They don't do elementary, but the secondary, every Wednesday, they get out, I think it's 2 hours early or something like that, like at 2 o'clock or
Right.
something. I don't know
It's a
what.
little earlier.
But they get out a little bit earlier every Wednesday, so those teachers have some common planning time, some catch-up time, some
Yep.
PD, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But every Wednesday they have that.
I like that.
And I like it too.
I don't like
It's,
that.
it's just
No,
a big
I-
leap.
Not every
It's a
Wednesday.
big
I can
leap
see
to
I can see
jump
once a
into right
month.
out of the gate.
Not
But,
every Wednesday.
and maybe it's something we slow roll, like Mr. Surratt just said. Maybe it's a once a month thing. Maybe it's a, and we are trying to streamline some of our record keeping things for teachers. We went to one platform, everything being through Power School to help streamline some of that. Obviously, that adds some stress because learning new platforms and all that. But once that gets settled, I think that will help streamline some things as far as record keeping and some of the things that take up time. We have an AI option that the teachers can have AI create test form, which will save a ton of time. Writing prompts, things like that. We have Schooly out there for the schools that are struggling. Schooly is a tutoring platform that every child has access to that has on the other end of it, a certified teacher for, I think it's like 132 different subjects. So there is no excuse that they can't go and get help with that math or that English or whatever. Matter of fact, they can even write a paper and they're graded. They do ACT. So we have a lot of things in place to help start pulling some of those things away, but this is the implementation year and some of it's still being built. Like even our MTSS piece, we just hired that person. We're building the platform that all that will start being recorded on. So there's one place that they can go. And the big problem that we've had is we have not had a process or a tool to be able to monitor what we're doing and whether or not it works and get rid of what doesn't and keep what does. This will start allowing to be able to do that. Like the MTSS platform, for instance, all the strategies will be uniform across the district, and we'll be able to see and pull very easily if it's working or not and get rid of it if it's not, and if it is, keep it. So that's kind of, we're headed that direction, and anytime we can try and find some ways to give back time to the teachers, we always do. I know you all get the emails from me, hey, Jeans Day, someone mentioned jeans earlier, one of the presentations, but you know, doing those kind of things, letting them leave a little bit early on those holidays and things like that, we do. The flex days, we built that in there to try and give time back to them, you know, all those kind of things we've done to try and give time back. And we're gonna continue to look at it, because we know, from the state down, there's more and more reporting, all those things.
Right.
We're dealing with a change that the state decided to do with Miss Westmoreland's department. All of IEPs and everything were kept on a certain platform. The state decided to do away with it. The new platform doesn't accommodate 504, so we had to put that on the Power School so just things like that that make it difficult. So we're always aware of that and try to benefit them the best we can.
All right, my last question then for the calendar, 4 parent conference times? 4, is it? I counted 4 parent conferences.
Yes.
And is that something mandatory? Is that something like new?
I want to try and get them parents in the building as much as
I love
possible.
it. I just have never seen that before.
And if you don't do it during those grading periods, how can you, if Mr. Surratt is my son and he's failing algebra, and I don't know till report card goes out, it's too late. He already got the grade. I can't do nothing to help him.
I've
So we're
never
trying
seen
to
it.
get them in every 9 weeks to get them out there so that we
think
can
that's a
make
good
sure
idea.
that Mr. Surratt's parents know that he's struggling and get him the help that he needs.
So it'd almost be like midterm time, right?
Yeah, like that. Yeah, like the interim time.
September,
They're all
yeah.
right around that interim time.
Okay.
I agree with that, Dr. Fall. In
Me
the past,
too.
it's been almost Halloween.
Right, you
Before
get
can
one
get
or
in
two,
there, I'm
and
like,
it's
what
like,
do you want me to do?
Right.
I mean, it's over now.
Yep. That's something new. I mean, I like it.
Yeah, I'm just curious, if we moved spring break, would we move the 2 days in April up to March?
No, we would not move those.
So you would have,
You see,
Yeah, and I think we have to also consider,
That's
the
so
state
lame.
has not submitted their calendar for, testing.
Testing.
Even though it's the last 20 days of school, you also have AP testing in there that starts early May. So you wanna get as much time in there with the teachers, so if you push that spring break back anymore, those kids will be affected by that. So we're very strategic in what we put these days.
Dr. Dukes, I just caught this. You'll have everybody mad at us. They'll be coming to school on Thanksgiving. Y'all a week too early. For November. That's the 25th through the 29th, not the 18th through the 22nd. Then the teachers will be real mad.
We'll correct that.
Oh, it sure is.
If we're considering those early release days, I think we need to do it district-wide though. If we're gonna create problems for parents and things, just letting part of their kids go home.
yeah, and I don't want to speak for district. I think the reason they did just the secondary was because those kids were able to get home on their own, get
Right.
home to take care of siblings, whatever the case was. Because if you do elementary one day and high school, not like if we do them and we do K through 12, they all got to be the same day, same time, so that it's just like a normal day.
But that wouldn't be next year. You're talking about.
Right, we would have to build
You
that.
got time for.
That wouldn't be next year.
Parents know that.
I'll bring something back. I would love to see us do something like
That's
that.
not.
Not in small state.
Right.
We can start out once a month or something.
Just something to give the teachers more time to collaborate with each other.
Well, it's tough. Like I said, the state requires certain things that we get done, and as you know, you were a former administrator, and that time it gets harder and harder when they keep piling on more and more to do. You gotta get PD done. You give 30 minutes unencumbered time, especially elementary folks, it's killing them because that unencumbered time, are you gonna give up, like she said, our lunch to go do your copies and to do all, you know, so it's making it difficult on them, and that's some of those things where legislators, I think, their heart was in a good place because there are districts, we were ahead of the game, there are districts that didn't provide any time to elementary. We did, but when they made it unencumbered time and now, like, you still gotta do those same things, but you're giving up 30 minutes of your day that you can't do nothing with it. So it's made it tough on teachers, and most good teachers have that flexibility to do, but it is harder and harder, like she said. I mean, sometimes that lunch is difficult, so.
Yes, ma'am.
Chairman, next, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the calendar, making the change from spring break changing that from the March date to the second full week in April.
First full week.
The first full week, right.
Mhm.
The second week in April, but first full week, so it
Correct.
starts April 7th, I believe.
Correct, correct.
And then moving the Thanksgiving break back to where it needs to be.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a second. Any discussion?
But now, he did say that we're not gonna move the 17th and 18th. So they're gonna be out a week, go 3 days, and then be off again. Is that correct?
Talking about.
In April.
Just leave those dates. We can't piecemeal. I don't feel like the
The
dates.
17th though, they go to school, right? It's-
The
that's
18th
the
is the
18th.
flex day.
Okay.
It's the 18th.
That flex
Okay.
day.
I mean, I'm fine, I'm just bringing that up.
Any further discussion? All in favor, show of hands. Okay. That is Mr. Blackwell, Mr. Cash, Mr. Surratt, myself, Ms. Dawkins, Ms. Shackelford, Ms. Shippey, and Mr. Wilkins, and in opposition, Ms. Goddard. Passes on majority.
Thank you all.
Yes, sir. The next item that was amended to be on the agenda is executive session for
No. City again.
City of Gaffney.
city, excuse me, I'm sorry. Yes. I've written
Uh,
wrong this agenda.
You all should have in your packet, exactly what that request is. The only thing I would say, I'm not against the request. The only thing I would say is in the motion, that you make a stipulation in there to let us verify that it's not gonna impact anything that is current with our school. It looks like it runs on the side according to the map out of the way, but I just would feel more comfortable if in the motion we make that a mandatory that we verify it doesn't impact anything.
It's close to the school though, even. If we have to do anything to the school, addition or anything, is it gonna happen?
Well, that's why I said, if anything, I'd make that, if you wanna do this, I'd make that specification that we make sure it's not gonna impact nothing.
Yeah, because it's splitting the property.
Yeah.
It's basically just connecting that piece of the city that they own to another piece they're wanting to.
Just for clarity, so that everyone watching and folks here understand, I'm gonna just read real quick the request from the city. The city of Gaffney has been approached by a developer wishing to annex property located at the intersection of Packlet Highway and Gregory Road into the city of Gaffney. However, we cannot annex this property unless it is contiguous to the current city limits. Therefore, we are requesting that the Cherokee County School District agree to annex a 30-foot wide strip of land along the southwest property lines of the Limestone Central Elementary School property.
By the look at the picture, they trying to touch the highway 150.
Isn't it?
Well, but they can't annex the other property without it being in
Yeah.
contact with city property that's already there.
Is it that one small little rectangle? That's the one that across
No.
the street from
They're
Peg?
going across the property
Right,
to get to the other property.
right, that little small rectangle. That needs a road for it.
Don't make it a rectangle.
Right, I'm assuming it's that one.
Call it them, man.
That's the one they have.
That's what I'm saying, if you, I would know.
That's what they're trying to do.
It's just so close, isn't it?
This split, this split.
That's why I said, if you approve it, I would make sure that it's not gonna
That's
impact.
not safe, I don't, my opinion.
That's too close.
Now, I don't know, well, and I don't know in the picture if it's actual scale or not, I don't, that's what I'm saying, like.
Yeah, but I mean, that look like.
Oh, it's right up on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's
That's what I'm saying.
That's it, like,
They do that straight across there.
I don't think it feels safe for kids. Have you walked it, Dr. Fall? Have you been out there?
No, that's what I'm saying, I would wanna get a surveyor and actually see where their stakes are, where it's gonna be based on our property, so that we could make sure
Yeah.
there's no issues for the future, for the current, nothing. That's what I'm saying, if you all wanted to do it, and it's up to y'all whether you do or you don't, but if you do, I would not do it without putting a stipulation of, we get it verified for those purposes.
Is there some type of time restraint to get this done?
I'm sure they probably want it as quick as possible so that they can vote to do the annex and they can start building or doing whatever they're doing. But that's up to you all. You
Can we table it, can we table it until you have time to look at it?
You can table it, yes. You can do whatever you want to do.
Okay.
I'm like,
The
Bill, that's too
property, the property they're trying to get to is it directly across the road where that runs.
I don't know if they're trying to get across the road or what they're trying to
They can move
do.
that line down is easy.
Yeah, I don't,
Keep it away.
I don't know, they didn't disclose that, alls I got was the same thing you guys got, and I don't, that's why I said, there's enough variables that if you did it, I definitely wanna
They're going for
go
that
out.
property
before.
there, that line can be moved, and I don't think it would affect us, but I'm not far away as strong.
No. Just keep
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
would like to make a motion that we table this until Dr. Fall has a little time to walk this and research it and bring it back to us at the next board meeting.
Second.
Now, motion to table this at this time till we get further information. And a second. Any further discussion?
let me say this, Dr. Nick. It ain't so much about him walking it. It's
It's-
more about what the plats are, what the
Yeah,
property lines
information.
are. That's more about.
And which one is they, which parcel are they even
Well, he'll tell
wanting
us.
to connect it? 'Cause I can't tell from the picture.
I
I don't think we wanna pay a surveyor to go check it.
No, they
Well,
ain't got
that's
a survey.
true. That's true.
That's on them. When you wanna buy property or get property from somebody, that's on you to pay a survey.
will meet with Mr. Taylor, express the concerns, and if they wanna, and you have to make a motion for this, but I'll meet with him, express the concerns, and if they wanna get more specific and bring something specific, they can bring it back next week. If someone's gotta make that motion though, cause it is requested for approval for them.
So we have
Same
Yeah.
a
one.
motion. to
Can we
table.
amend it?
We have a motion to
You
table.
wanna, yeah.
And we have
But-
Yeah.
we have a second.
Mhm.
Any, sir?
No.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor of tabling this at this time? Show of hands.
That's giving Dr. Fall permission to talk with Mr. Taylor.
Can you amend that
Yes.
motion? to
It just gives
give
him
him
permission
permission?
to table, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Either way, if you table it, I'm gonna still go get that.
Yeah,
and
okay.
bring
Go
it
get more
back. If
information.
If
That's
you
it.
wanna amend it, but either way, that's gonna happen.
Okay. All right, we voting?
Show of
To
hands.
table it.
Table
To
it at
table.
this time.
To table.
Till
We just
further-
did.
Till further information is brought.
Okay.
As unanimous.
Now we can.
Okay,
go
now,
to the-
this is to the amended agenda with the item for executive session for the purpose of discussion of personnel matters not to exceed 45 minutes. Do we have a motion for executive session?
I make a motion to enter executive session for the purpose of discussing personnel matters.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Have a second. Any discussion? All, yes, ma'am.
I mean,
Okay.
whatever you
All
do.
right, show of hands, going to executive session.
Right.
That is unanimous.
We got 45 minutes. We gotta move.
That's why we got 45 minutes.
Clock starts now.
You said Next in your packet, you have the financial update timeline. The only modification or waiver to that would be, and we'll have some discussions as we start getting some information about having some workshops. So just keep that in mind as we're moving through the budget season, keeping your workshop dates that you already have, it would be those dates. So as we start getting some information from the state, we may add some workshops in there, so just keep that in mind. Next, we got a little celebration for School Board Association recognition. And I'm gonna come down to this side and make you get up so we can get a little picture. First, I'd like to call Dr. Nix down. Dr. Nix, congratulations on achieving 10 years of school board service for the Cherokee County School District. On behalf of the officers and staff of the South Carolina School Board Association, myself, and the school district, thank you. You've played a critical role in guiding your district and have invested countless hours to improve public education. There's your 10-year pin certificate, and that's the other two all guys together. Thank you. Next up, this one is congratulations on achieving 20 years of school board service for Cherokee County School District. On behalf of the officers and staff of the South Carolina School Board Association, myself, and the school district, thank you, Mr. Billy Blackwell. You have played a critical role in guiding your district and have invested countless hours to improve public education. There's your fancy 20-year pin. Thank you. There you go.
Congratulations.
He is inside.
Hitting head, which I don't like, and it's cold. I'll go to Murder Beach in May when it's warm and I can play golf. I go in there.
Congratulations to both of you. Just want to remind you all, if you have not yet, don't forget that January is coming to a close, which is School Board Appreciation Month. So if you haven't been out to your designated school yet, please make sure that you reach out to that principal and schedule that, because they usually plan something special for you. So if you haven't done that, please make sure you get that in soon, or at least get it scheduled. Even if you gotta move it into February, please make sure you get that scheduled with them so that they can have that planned and prepared. Also, just a small token of my appreciation, you guys have a little bag in front of you, underneath you somewhere. It is a book called How to Be a Coffee Bean. It's just a feel-good book, just something for you to read, and hopefully you take something. You know, it started with the first speaker that we had here, the artist. I don't know, some of you that came that was blown away by Sam Glenn. It started with attitude, and that's kind of, this book kind of coincides with that. So I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you.
Next, we need to all gather around the table and do the ethical principle. Dr. Nix, you have your statement that you need to read off as part of the ethical principle. We'll go ahead and move to that now. Yeah, right there. Once he reads this, we'll all go down so they can kind of get a picture of you guys, going through the motion of signing it.
As members of the board, school board, we pledge our efforts to improve public education in our community and will solemnly try to represent the interests of the entire district when making decisions, and to rely on available facts and on our judgment rather than on individuals or special interest groups. Understand the proper role of the board to set policies governing the district and to hire the chief administrative officer to carry out these policies. Encourage an open exchange of ideas by all board members during the decision-making process. Seek regular communications between the board and students staff, and all segments of the community. Attend all board meetings to study issues facing the board and to enact policies and official actions only after full discussion at such meetings. Work with other board members in a conscientious and courteous manner, benefiting the public trust placed in the position of a school board trustee. Communicate concerns and public reaction to board policies and school programs to the superintendent and other board members in a professional manner. Support employment of the persons best qualified for staff positions and to ensure a regular and impartial evaluation of all staff. Avoid conflicts of interest and to refrain from using our board positions for personal or partisan gain. Encourage recognition of the achievements of students and staff and of the involvement of community residents. Support legislation and funding which will improve the educational opportunities and environment for students and staff. Take no individual action which would compromise the integrity of the board or administration, and to respect the confidentiality of information that is privileged under the Freedom of Information Act. Study current educational issues and to participate in training programs such as those offered through the South Carolina School Boards Association, and make our district's educational setting the best possible to encourage the students to achieve and to love learning.
So if y'all don't mind getting up, going down and signing the poster, we'll get some pictures of that real quick.
Can I ask this? Can we finish our board meeting?
That's up to
And-
you all.
and do it
We just need
adjourn,
to,
and
we
then
need
we'll all go
to,
down.
we
So
need
when
to
everybody goes
document
down,
that
they
y'all
go
did
down.
it. All right, well, sticking with that theme then, as we continue through this list, just a reminder that y'all's 2024 annual convention is coming up February 15th through the 18th. I believe that Ms. Duckett has everything lined up for those of you that reached out to her. So there shouldn't be any issues, but as usual, if you run into them, hotels are hotels, and there always seems to be something that pops up every year. So we usually get it worked out though relatively easy. So just wanted to remind y'all that's coming up for you. Speaking of ethical principles, you also need to pay close attention right now. If you haven't listened to nothing else I said, listen right now, because they changed the date. Do not forget to do your statement of economic interest. It's earlier than normal. The deadline this year is February 15th. So please, listen carefully. Make sure that you do your statement of economic interest, because it will bite you if you don't.
It was practically a month earlier than what it
Right. So just keep that in mind. Usually it's March 30th usually, and they've moved it up to February 15th. So make sure you get that in on time.
Must be want some money.
They trying to trick people.
That's all I have from the superintendent's report.
Mr. Blackwell, any comments, any?
Well, I just want to say, down on the high school league, you know, all the work that's been going on there. We've come through the competitive balance picture now and done the classifications. Actually, we already had their hearings and appeals done there, got that completed. Regions are now out. We still got to do the regions appeals, but I don't expect any out of our region so far. We had like 22, I think, in classification, but I hadn't seen anything come through on our region itself that it would affect us. But I know, like I say, Gaffney High and all, that everybody's done put out season schedules, so I guess they anticipate nothing happening.
I think our region, everybody's happy with it.
That's what I mean.
You ain't
I
gonna
think
hear
so
nothing.
too. I believe so too. I know we ended up bumping up, I think it was 18. We had bumped up 18 teams to 5A and made some additional brackets, so to speak. I guess you might say, going to end up being 2 state playoff teams, I guess. So, or tournaments, I guess you might call it. But that going on. And I was going to ask Dr. Fall, we talked about our C team coming back. That is in the works, right?
Yeah, we made that clear
Okay.
during the budget
Just making
process.
sure.
We made that clear.
I mean, with all that's going on, I hadn't heard anything on that one, but.
Well, if
Update
not,
everybody on
if
that.
not, we'll deal with that, but it was made clear that is coming back.
Okay. I just want to be sure, so kids know to sign up, get ready. I guess that's all I got. I want to thank everybody. We got a bunch of cards and the gifts from Dr. Fall. We appreciate that. Thank you.
Mr. Cash?
I think the presentations today from the principals, I can't help but think about the stresses I know that the principals feel from that, and then that of course is passed down to the teachers, and then of course I know that's passed down to the students when it comes to these test scores and these improvements and things like that. But just know that every single one of us are definitely pulling for you, and you have our support, but I know that is a stressful time for them, and because they all put in a lot of work. So just thinking of them.
Ms. Coleman?
I kind of agree with what Mr. Blackwell said. The school board appreciation, our school board month, got some cute little things. I love the little video we received from Blacksburg Middle with the kids doing something. That was really cute. But I know my heart goes out to those principals and their staff of all the hard work they've put into these plans. And I can remember dissecting those school report card results every year and just really trying to pinpoint areas where we can improve. So I'm pulling for them and hope we see great results this next few months.
Mr. Surratt?
Yeah, I'd like to thank everybody for the job that they do. I look forward to visiting Blacksburg High School for the Board Appreciation Month. I supposed to went, but the storm hit and the ball game got canceled. So, but I've been talking to Mr. Mullinex, and I'm looking forward to that visit at Blacksburg. Other than that, I just thank everybody for the job that they do and hope that they keep it up.
Mr. Wilkins?
I'm good.
Ms. Ship?
Yes, in observance of the School Board Appreciation Month, I was able to go to Blacksburg Primary. The hospitality was amazing. Gift basket that I enjoyed thoroughly. Great thought was put into some of the things that I enjoy. I was able to read to a kindergarten class, and they posted a picture of me in the class on Facebook, and one of the grandmothers noted that her grandson told her that I sat down with him and that I told him I would need his help getting up. But thankfully, I didn't need his help, but he was willing to help me. So I thought that was cute as that. But I really enjoyed the time with the children there, and I really wish I could spend more time with it because I had an amazing time.
Ms. Shackleton?
I just want to say to Mr. Cash and Ms. Goldman's comments, you could almost see the stress that the principals have, and I know that trickles down. But the schools take the hit for every problem in a home, in a student's home. If there's inadequate housing, if there are mental health issues, if a parent's not around for whatever reason to help with homework, if there are transportation issues, the parents don't get the score. The community doesn't get the score. The schools get the score. And I know that all those principals are doing everything they can. Dr. Dukes, your team is amazing to drive those scores up, but we are pulling for them, and I know that they'll come out on the other side. We're better than what those scores dictate. There's more that goes on in these schools than what those scores say. And I enjoyed my time out at Ewing Middle School on Friday, and I told Dr. Root, I was like, don't go out of your way to get me anything. And he didn't. He baked those cakes for all of us. So I just want to tell him how nice that was for all of us.
Ms. Dahlman?
I think it was Dr. Jeffries who said, just because we have an unsatisfactory score doesn't mean we're unsatisfactory. So I agree with you, Lenny, that we are much, much better than what's depicted on those report cards. And I too are pulling, I want all our schools to be successful. So I'm just praying, and you have my support. I was able to visit Blacksburg Middle School for Board Member Appreciation Month, and it was the best day ever because it was my birthday. So the children in the chorus, under the direction of Mr. Davis, they sung happy birthday to me. Every last one of them was sopranos, and that's my voice, so hey, I loved it. Then I was able to go to some of the classrooms. I went to Miss Gilfield's pre-algebra class, Miss Elliott's English class, Who else? Miss Haynes, oh goodness, her career cluster class. Those children that was in there were just so engaged boys. It was the, you know, we usually, you know, count on girls being engaged, but to see these young guys in there just working so hard together and in collaboration, it was just absolutely amazing. Just a great class. I went to the AVID class with Miss Taylor, but one amazing teacher just kind of stuck out to me was Miss Sheehan. I think she does algebra honors.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, she has this plan with these little notebooks that she has these children to create, and they follow along with her and do their work in that class, and she grades the notebook at the end of a certain period. It just reminds me of old-timey teaching. I guess that's a word, old-timey, I guess because I'm getting to be there. But it just reminds me of, you know, teaching that we used to have, and it was just so engaging, and I thought she was absolutely wonderful. The school was immaculate, just clean from top to bottom. The custodian was great, the cafeteria workers. I met their instructional coach, Miss Taylor, the guidance counselor. Just phenomenal. What Miss Greer has going on at Gaffney Middle is absolutely wonderful. I had said I was on Dorn, the sweater they gave me today, but since I had to have my picture taken, I'll do that next at the next meeting. But I just appreciate them for allowing me to come in. She's doing great things at Gaffney Middle School. Blacksburg Middle School, and I'm just looking forward to them soaring even higher. But I thank everyone for all the gifts. All the different principals gave gifts. So I thank you for everything that was given. I know y'all appreciate us, but I appreciate you much, much more.
Thank you. Thank you for everyone's comments, a lot of positive comments, a lot of observations. Dr. Dukes, thank you for the work that you're doing to help us move forward with the academics and setting some standards for us that we're going to meet. We're going to meet them with your leadership.
I'm sorry, Dr. Dukes, they were so complimentary of you over there at Blacksburg Middle. Just the work you're doing, how you're allowing the teachers to meet with you and establish the correct curriculum and get the children on board. Only wonderful things to say about you. I'll be amiss if I not let you know that. So you keep up the good work as well, you and your team.
At this time, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
We got a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor, show of hands. Okay. Let's gather around and.